which, you know, I spend a lot of time at the vets because of my anxiety and paranoia, I can't lie. Am I the problem? I feel like I am. I've just been to my laser consultation. I'm disappointed that I didn't like it. What's in the bag? Which, I mean, humans are scum in this world as well, so on brand. Good morning. I'm going to be kicking Magical Readathon and Realmathon week 3 off with a little unboxing because this parcel just arrived from Pam Macmillan and I have absolutely no chill because as far as I'm aware, I am not expecting anything. So publishers have been real good to me recently, which always comes as a shock to me, to be honest. But let's see what this one is. I'm wondering if it's a finished copy of something like I've had an arc of. Okay, so I was supposed to get an arc of this, but it was lost in the post, so it makes sense that I've been sent a finished copy. But that is In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune, which is his most recent standalone. I'm not sure when the release date on this is. It's the 28th of May. Oh no, that's his tour. It's the 25th of April. I didn't actually realize it was so soon, but I'm pretty sure that I'm getting this in a subscription box. It's the book of the month for a subscription box that I'm subscribed to, which, I mean, I know what it is. I just don't want to give you spoilers if you don't know. And also I've pre-ordered the Waterstones edition of this one because the Waterstones editions of TJ Klune's books are traditionally very pretty. I know that he has fallen out with Waterstones recently, so we're not going to be getting any more special editions, but I'm very excited about this one. I'm surprised though because it's like a normal size hardback, whereas his other two are shorter hardbacks. It is about a guy, I think it's like a loose Pinocchio kind of story, but it's following a guy who lives with 3 robots and they rescue an android, and the android used to hunt robots, and so it accidentally gives away the location of this man and his robots, and then they have to, like, somebody gets captured and they have to go save him. It sounds really cute and I really like TJ Klune's standalones. I really do still need to read Under the Whispering Door though, and this is a really pretty edition. I'm also really excited to see the special editions that I have ordered of this as well. But thank you very much to Pam Macmillan and Black Crow PR for sending this one my way. I kind of want to get to it now, but it doesn't really fit any of my prompts in Magical Readathon. If this has, okay, it has just over 415 pages. So I was going to say if this has between 385 and 415 pages, I'm going to be mad because I've just fulfilled that prompt. But speaking of Magical Readathon prompts, I should probably tell you guys what I'm currently reading because I've had a little bit of a switch around with my priorities for this coming week. I am tired of Enya losing. I'm tired for Realmathon, that is. I'm talking about different readathon now, but I'm tired of us losing, so I've decided that for this week I'm just going to take a mini little holiday away from my core TBR because I really do need to get to before they are hanged, and the intimacy experiment this month. But before I do that, I'm going to read a bunch of fantasy romance because if I read like a 500-page indie fantasy romance, that's 50 points for Enya before we even get into the prompt list. So I'm starting off with the Magical Readathon prompt for Demonology, which is to read a book that is compared to a favourite. I originally had Discovery of Witches in for this, but realistically I could push that one to next month. So instead I'm going to be reading Her Soul for Revenge by Harley LaRue. This is the sequel to one of my favourite books of 2022, which was Her Soul to Take, and it is a paranormal-esque fantasy romance. So book 1 is about a girl called Ray who moves back to the town where where her family are originally from, and she has a paranormal investigation YouTube channel. So when she arrives, she finds this grimoire within her possessions and she decides to film a demon summoning, even though she doesn't believe it'll actually work. And she ends up summoning this demon called Leon, who is the love interest. And he used to be in service, like up until very recently, he's been in service to this family that have been sacrificing people to the god that slumbers beneath this town. So he asks for his grimoire back to earn his freedom, and she finds out that she's lost it. And together they try and hunt it down, Leon so that he can have his freedom, and Ray so that she can stop these sacrifices. Now each book does follow a different couple, and book 2, Her Soul for Revenge, is about Juniper and Zane. Zane is a demon like Leon, they're best friends, and Juniper is somebody who this family, are they called like the Hadleys, tried to sacrifice to the god. Like you find out about this in the first book. All of the books kind of like, they don't run chronologically, they overlap a little bit, which is kind of my one flaw with book 1. Like it feels like there's gaps in the plot that are filled in with other books. When she was young, I think when she was about 15, this family tried to sacrifice her to the god, and since then she has been on the run. So I'm pretty sure I'm like 50 pages in and this is about to happen, I feel, so it'd be within the first 100 pages. But she teams up with Zane to get her revenge on the Hadley family. So I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, about 50 pages in, and I'm hoping to fly through this. I've been desperate to read this for the longest time. I really want to get some fantasy romance in because high point scoring for Realmathon and my favorite genre, and I'm really in the mood for it right now, and I've been meaning to read this one pretty much since like last September-ish when I read Her Soul to Take. So if you do go into this though, it deals with like BDSM and like degradation, domination, submission kind of kinks. So do look up a full kink list before you go into it, but Harley Leroux is really good about putting that on her Goodreads page. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Today I have a vet appointment for Brie at 2 p.m. just for a check over because I'm not sure if she's having a bit of a pseudo pregnancy after her season, but she's stressing me out. So I'm gonna take her to the vets because y'all know I have health anxiety, which extends to other people, well, my pets, because they're in my care. So I hate going to the vet and finding out that I've been paranoid, but at the same time I need it for my peace of mind. So we're going to the vet at 2 p.m, but until then I'm gonna edit my Blood Mercy vlog for my patrons, schedule a couple of Patreon posts, and then crack on with editing last week's vlog, and then hopefully I'll get a ton of reading done tonight.
When can I hold you again? 'Cause lately I've been wondering how long this can take to end. When can I kiss you?
Good afternoon. It is 3:15 and I've just wrapped up some editing and I'm about to go to the supermarket to get myself something in for dinner, and then gonna come home and try and squeeze in a little bit of a workout because I am back here for public sprints for Realmathon at 7 p.m. this evening. But I just wanted to touch upon Brie's appointment yesterday because I am aware that I have a habit of like introducing or mentioning something briefly in a vlog and then completely forgetting to come back to it. So we did take her in. We're pretty sure that she is having a phantom pregnancy. There's some mammary gland action going on there, but there's no like milk or discharge, so they wouldn't really pursue any treatment at this point because it is probably just going to resolve on its own. We did do a scan just to be 100% sure that there was nothing going on there that shouldn't be, and they said they're 90% sure that she isn't pregnant, but she looks like she needs a really big poo, which to be fair is very on brand for our girl. So we do have a follow-up scan because they couldn't give me 100% at that appointment. We do have a follow-up scan booked in for Monday just to give her the all clear on everything, and that's free as part of it's essentially because they couldn't give me the 100%. There isn't a chance that she's pregnant is the thing. We left her with a sitter for 24 hours and there was a boy there who was neutered, but he'd only been neutered for 4 weeks and he was showing a bit of interest in her. So she's like, there's little chance that she is pregnant. I imagine the sitter would have said something to me if anything had happened, but essentially I'm 99% sure she's not pregnant, and the 1% of me that is convinced that she is just anxiety. So yeah, that scan is just for the sake of my anxiety and paranoia, which, you know, I spend a lot of time at the vets because of my anxiety and paranoia, can't lie. But in terms of reading, I'm 157 pages into Her Soul for Revenge. I'll probably come back after sprints depending what time they wrap up. I'm aiming for between 10 and 11 p.m, but as we know with dice sprints, can't always guarantee it, but I'll let you know like a little bit more about it then. But right now I will say that I don't think I'm enjoying it as much as Her Soul to Take, and I think that's because the smut comes on quite early in this one, like within the first 40-50 pages, and I'm pretty sure with Leon and Ray in Her Soul to Take it was a little bit later in the book, and you guys know I love myself a bit of a slow burn. So yeah, I'm hoping. I only read 100 pages yesterday, but I did play some Fortnite. It looks like the squad are going to want to play tonight, which I don't know how I'm going to work that around sprints if I'm being honest, but at least I have the sprints to get me to hopefully 150 to 200 pages further into this one. But yeah, I'll check in with you guys a little bit later and let you know what my progress is. We are on 10:30 now and sprints have just ended, and I gotta say I didn't read very much during those sprints. I don't feel like I'm enjoying this as much as Her Soul to Take, and at this point though I wonder if the problem is me am I the problem? I feel like I am, because the first book I read this month I gave 5 stars to, but like I struggled to get into it, which I very much was not expecting. The next 2 were 2-star reads. The last one I read was 3 stars, and this one is also feeling like it could be a 3-star read for me as well, which I was definitely not anticipating. And my favorite thing about the first book that I'm feeling slightly now in this one is the atmosphere and the setting. Like the first one very much reminded me of like Bella Swan arriving in Forks in Twilight. It reminded me of the Hush Hush series by Becca Fitzpatrick, which are books that I don't like now, or wouldn't like if I read them now, and those types of books aren't necessarily books that I would like if I read them now, but they were favorites at the time, and this made me feel that kind of nostalgia for that like paranormal in like a rainy Northern American forested town. And this is still delivering, but like it's not as transportative as the first book was. And the only thing that I can pinpoint that I would like less, or that I am liking less for sure about this one, is that the smut comes in a little bit sooner, because as I've already said, like I prefer it when it comes in a little bit later in the book and we have more of a slow burn. But that is it. That is the only thing that I can concrete say I like this less than book 1, which doesn't contribute to the amount that I'm liking this less than book 1. So right now I'm really worried that I'm the problem, because that makes me not want to read any 5-star predictions right now. And I have Iron Gold on my TBR, which is a Patreon pick from March that I really want to get to. I have Before We Are Hanged, or Before They Are Hanged, which I actually started in sprints because we rolled a double, but I'm not going to pick this up as a priority yet, so I'll talk to you about it later. But that is also kind of a 5-star prediction for me, because I really enjoyed book 1. I also want to read Blood Solace potentially soon by Vila Roth, which after really enjoying book 1 is also a 5-star prediction for me. I don't want to read any of these books now, because if I'm the problem, I'm going to dislike them all. But like, what do I want to read? Do I go for something completely different than I would typically read? But like, logically I want to read the books on my TBR that I'm excited about. So I don't know. I couldn't even, aside from the fact that my focus hasn't been 100% over the last week, which I touched upon briefly last week, I don't know what's going on with me, but I am starting to think that I am the problem.
'Cause baby, it feels like forever.
Gold ring. I saw that. Did it not go behind the binder? Oh yeah, I found it behind the binder. You thought it was stuck there. Yeah, don't do that.
So I've just been to my laser consultation, and I have agreed to go ahead and get laser eye surgery, which I think is going to be in June. So naturally, I actually feel alright about it now, but I will be shitting myself about it in about, when am I having it done in June? So like probably about a week before the actual thing. But I'm happy with how the consultation went, and it was like pretty, like you were confident as well, weren't you?
Yes, very nice people.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But right now we're gonna go get some lunch, which is the real reason why I want to be here. And then I think we're gonna do some shopping and then go home.
This could take to end. When can I kiss you? Scared that it might be forever.
Have a Waterstones order, which I'm assuming is a pre-order. I know that the Blood Gift is out soon, but I don't know if this is that, because it feels bigger than a paperback. Oh, I forgot about this. I did not realize that this was out now, but this one is the Waterstones edition of One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. As you know, when was I talking about it? Oh, it was when, was it the Bookopoly vlog where I received the art for Masters of Death? I was saying about how I love Olivia's writing style, and I feel like it will translate well to all of the different genres that she's currently writing books in. But this one, all I know about it is that it is a mafia romance, because I have been pretty much just buying buying them based on how much I enjoyed the Atlas 6. This one though, it's a gorgeous edition from Waterstones, but I like the Fairy Loot one better. So I decided not to cancel my pre-order of this one, and instead I think I'll just end up getting the Fairy Loot one, and if I love this I'll keep it. And if I don't, I'll just sell it on. But the Waterstones edition has the stenciled edges. We also have some end papers. I'm assuming are exclusive to the edition because yeah, they're also different on each side. If we have two like warring families in here, I'm assuming that we potentially have one on each side of the end pages. And is this one illustrated? Yes, the art in this by the same illustrator that did the Atlas 6. So I'm excited to get to this one at some point. At this point I could do an Olivia Blake reading vlog, which potentially actually is not a bad idea. So maybe I'll jot that down actually for around the time that I need to read Masters of Death. But today I've made candles, which is the first batch of Buffy candles, which is going to be the next launch. I think I'll let you guys know now because the vlogs typically tend to go out after the launch has already happened, so I can't give you guys warning, but I think that the launch is going to be last Friday in April, which is the 28th. I think I'm aiming for next Friday anyway, because I've left it a little bit late to do things like the labels, which is what I'm going to do now. But my thinking in that is that it's not going to be as difficult as it normally is, so it shouldn't take me too long. But I've made the first batch so that I can now make the labels and then take the photos early next week. And I've also ordered all of the stock. It's going to be a quick turnaround because if I don't do it this Friday, I don't really have time because the Friday after is actually my birthday, and then it's not long until I go to New York. So even if I did put them up after that, I wouldn't have time to ship them out. So yeah, it'll be a quick turnaround, but I'm confident that I can do it because I'm pretty on top of YouTube at the minute. But that is the plan for now, get those labels done. And it's also what I've spent my morning doing. And then my plan for this afternoon is to work out, get a shower, and then do a little bit of editing and finish Her Soul for Revenge, which I only have 75 pages left of. I very much just want to get done tonight. So we're up on the landing for a change of scenery, mainly actually because I will be picking my next read after this, but I have no idea what I'm in the mood for. So I know what prompt I'm going for and I'm going to have a scout around. But this does mean that I did finish Her Soul for Revenge, which I ended up liking the end of it because one of the reasons why I really like the first book in this series is that it does have a decent plot. Now, the negatives of the plot is that everything is kind of happening alongside each other across assumedly all three of the books in this trilogy. So books 1 and 2 are kind of happening side by side, which makes a couple of scenes redundant because you have already seen them from another character's perspective, and that like the new perspectives that you're getting in this book at least weren't enough for me to care that we were getting it from a new perspective. But realistically, the only reason those scenes actually exist is not to shed enlightenment on anything. It is to kind of ground the plot in a timeline so that you know exactly where events are falling alongside the other books. So not my preference, but I feel like it is an interesting way to tell the story because with every book we're getting a resolution to the series, but from like different characters' perspectives as they perform their part of the plot. So I did end up giving this one 3 stars overall because I do still really like the plot in here. I feel like this one had a lot more horror elements. While there are horror elements in the first book, I feel like this one did lean into the horror elements a little bit more. Then in terms of the romantic elements, that's the reason why I didn't like this book as much. We get into the smut a lot quicker than we do in book 1, as I've mentioned many times already. And also in terms of the BDSM, it is a little bit more intense, I want to say, than Her Soul to Take. I'm trying to think what we have. Oh, we have like piercing and a lot of like pain and like knife play stuff in here, which isn't really my thing. But like I said, Harley LaRue is really good at putting a full list of kinks in their books on their Goodreads page. So if you want to know like exactly what kind of thing you're going to be encountering before going into one of their books, you can go check it out on the Goodreads page. So that for my, I'm disappointed that I didn't like it. And that's one of the reasons why I really don't know what I want to pick up next, because I don't know whether I'm gonna enjoy anything, but also like I can't just not read. Like I can't not have a book in my hand because I wouldn't know what to do with myself in just like your random moments throughout the day. So I need to pick something, but I have no idea what I'm in the mood for. But Her Soul for Revenge fulfilled the demonology prompt for Magical Readathon, which was to read a book compared to your favorite, which I have compared this to Twilight and Hush Hush, which were favorites when I was like much younger. And for Realmathon, this actually got me 70 points for Enya. So I have 2 magical readathon prompts left for my career. One of them is, I don't know what the subject is, but I know the prompt is to read a book with flowers on the cover. And in my TBR, I tentatively put Blood Solace in for this, which is the second book in the Blood Grace series by Vila Roth. I do still kind of want to read this, but I am very aware of my time constraints of this month, and there are 650 pages in that book, and I do need to at least make a decent dent in before they are hanged, before the end of the month, because the live show I think is going to be on the first Sunday of May, and it's my birthday in like 2 weeks today, which is the 5th of May. So I'm not going to be reading for a few days just before the live show, so I can't like rely on the first week of May to get through that book. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the more challenging magical readathon prompt I have left, which is shapeshifting. Every magical readathon there's just one prompt that really fucks me up, and this year it's shapeshifting. So this one is to read a book that has the word like wolf or wolves in the title, a wolf on the cover, or wolf in the author name. Now I do have a few options for this, but none of them are particularly appealing to me right now. So I'm actually going to go and look and see if I can find any like random book covers that have wolves on. If you are also looking for random book covers that have wolves on, Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings does. Sadly, I've read it and Daisy Heats doesn't, but if you haven't read Magnolia Parks, there you go. You're welcome. I feel like the one that I'm going to go with, I have a couple of options. 2 of them are right here. Crave by Tracy Wolff. Although I don't want to start a new series. I feel like I am going to end up starting one. So I feel like I have to start one for a reason. Which leads me to the most likely option, which I feel is going to be The Longing of Lone Wolves by Lana Pacherzik. This one is a paranormal romance. A lot of people in my Patreon love this series, and Lana Pacherzik is going to be at Rare this year, so it is on my TBR to start soon. Also Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo, which I've been putting off for a long time. That's quite large, but I know that I can get through it reasonably quickly. Like, Leigh Bardugo's writing is very comfortable to me. And also another author who's going to be at Rare is it Julia Cross? The book is Wolf Gone Wild. It's the first book in, I think, the Stay a Spell series, so that is also an option, but I actually don't think that I can read another ebook right now. My eyes aren't feeling up to it. So out of those 4, which are my top choices, I feel like this is going to be the one, just because I own it physically. I have to read it for Rare anyway, and I'm avoiding Rule of Wolves. But before I do make a final decision, I'm gonna see what I can find, see if I can dig anything out, and if not, if you don't hear from me, essentially, we're going with this one. Good morning, everybody. It is 7:25 a.m. and we are on the road because it is record store day. We have 15 minutes until we arrive at our destination. We've decided we're going to go to Scarborough for this record store day because of the 2 that's closest to us. This one's normally a little bit quieter. I'm not optimistic. I'm really not. I'm trying to manage expectations. I have no idea how busy it's going to be when we get there. The shop opens at 8:30, but we are looking for the 1975 with the Philharmonic Orchestra, and the obviously Taylor Swift, the Long Pong, and obviously the Taylor Swift Long Pond sessions. What are you looking for? Porcupine Tree?
The David Byrne Express 2 Lazy Single.
And there's one that's quite hard to get hold of, which Ryan wants, which is Baby Queen. I don't even know what that is, but that's on our list as well in case he can't get it, because he is in Liverpool today, which I think is like 10,000 times busier than Scarborough is going to be. So yeah, I had to get up at 6 o'clock for this, and we're going to get breakfast afterwards, which I'm really excited about. But wish me Long Pond, because I need it. Lower you down a little bit. You're very, very high up. Oh, yeah. Say hey to the girls. So, when we got back from Record Store Day. We got back really early, actually. It was like 12:30, but I had a little bit of a nap and I rubbed all of the eyeliner off this eye so you can tell which side like I fell asleep on. But I'm about to do a 30-minute workout. I think it's Pop Ride with Cody Rigsby today, but I did get the goods, so I just wanted to give you a quick little haul showing you what we picked up. Curtis did get what he was looking for as well, which I think his priorities were Porcupine Tree and Express, and I got my two most important ones. By the time I got there, I think we were like 20th, like between 20 and 25 in the queue, and by the time I got there they didn't have Baby Queen, which to be fair I was only picking up for Ryan, and also Frank Turner, which I did want for myself. But I got the two that I most wanted, which is the 1975 I Like It When You Sleep with the BBC Philharmonic Orchestra, and of course the Long Pond Studio Sessions. So yeah, successful Record Store Day. When I knew, as soon as I joined that queue, I knew that the 4 people in front of me wanted Taylor Swift. So I was having palpitations when we were, because you queue outside and then you queue in the store, and as you get to the front you tell the people who work there what you want and they start getting your things out. But I hate the part when you get into the shop and there's like 6 or 7 people in front of you and you can hear what they're asking for, so every time they ask for the thing that you want, your heart just like stops. So I mean, it was an intense situation, especially for me, because y'all know anxiety, but I'm happy that I managed to get what I wanted. I wanted this because we all know I'm the biggest 1975 groupie, but this was the one that like I desperately wanted. So yeah, Scarborough came through for me today. Oh, and I did decide last night, as you probably guessed, to pick up The Longing of Lone Wolves. I'm only 30 pages into it, but it's different than I expected so far because it has like high fantasy elements and also it's post-apocalyptic, so definitely intriguing. Already more intriguing than I thought it was going to be, but yeah, I've got nothing to report on that front at this point.
Lately I've been dreading how this might just be the end. When can I kiss
Good morning, it is 8:30 and I'm getting ready for Brie's vet appointment, her rescan, which is at 9 AM, which I booked that in thinking 9 AM, perfect, get it over with, which is fair, but also I have major regrets because I got up at 7 but I didn't sleep very well last night, so I haven't had that much sleep. But at least that'll be out of the way and then I've got the rest of the day to crack on with some work. But while I get ready, I thought I would come and talk to you a little bit about The Longing of Lone Wolves by, I think it's Lana Paherchik, and also wrap up this vlog, which I should have done last night, but I was also playing Fortnite and I just didn't. In terms of the book, it's fine, I want to say. It's better than I expected it to be. I went into this with very low expectations, knowing that I didn't like paranormal. So I'm enjoying it fine. It's a quick read, it's an easy read, and I definitely appreciate it for that. But I think if I'd have got in this expecting to enjoy it, I would have been disappointed. Because while I really like the premise of it, which is a little bit different, I don't love the fact that it's like a standard paranormal that I've read in the past. Like, I've read good paranormal, but the majority of paranormal I read, like, the writing's kind of average, it's super predictable, the like plot development is super, I don't want to say predictable, it just literally comes out of nowhere. Like, I've just read a scene where the main character just looked at someone. She has the powers of a seer, but she just looked at someone and was like, oh, my friend is destined for this person, to introduce like a later book, even though based on the premise, like, her friend is nowhere to be found. So it's just like super convenient out of nowhere. She just looks at this guy and she's like, my friend is destined for you, which I mean, it's whatever. But I do really like the premise of this one. So it's futuristic, but in a way that feels kind of like archaic, historical, like high fantasy, because we're following a girl from, like, I guess I would say modern day Vegas, but it's post-apocalyptic. So we've had nuclear war, or the United States have had nuclear war, and it's put them into like a nuclear winter. So things have changed. People are very much living underground to avoid the radiation, and there is like flashbacks to the past where you find out kind of like the main character's backstory, but she essentially wakes up, I think around 2,000 years in the future, in this world that's like ruled by fae, and there's like these guys around with like axes made out of bone. It's winter everywhere and everything's just kind of different. So she finds out essentially that the human race, I think, were dying, So somehow they were like spliced with a little bit of a sci-fi edge. I don't know if they were spliced or whether it's like some magical mutation, but their DNA, human DNA, was mixed with animal DNA, which created the race of the Fae. So they're all kind of animal. I don't know if they're all animal shifters, but they are all tied to animals because that is the creation of the Fae race. Humans are scum in this world, which, I mean, humans are scum in this world as well. So on brand. The main male character is a guardian who are protectors. They protect people against magical bad things. And this one in particular has been cursed. So he cannot be seen, he cannot restore his mana, and when his mana runs out, he will die. And the only way to stop his curse is if he finds his well-blessed mate, which it's impossible that that could be our main character because she's a human. You see where this is going, right? So I really like the fact that it's post-apocalyptic. It's time travel-y, I guess, would be the sci-fi element aside from like the dystopian apocalyptic element. And I do really like that about it, but writing-wise, very basic. Romantic plot-wise, kind of basic. I'm getting the feeling, I'm 248 pages into it, and I'm getting the feeling that we are going to have a little bit of like a more of an overarching plot across multiple books, which I am excited about. But generally, like, it's just an easy read. It's fine. I'm enjoying it enough to continue, and that's it. Like, it's good for me right now because of how disappointed I've been by everything I've read. I went into this with no expectations, expecting to actually dislike it. So in terms of that, it's been a positive reading experience for me, because while I probably like it about the same amount as I enjoyed Her Soul for Revenge, I expected to love Her Soul for Revenge, so that was a bigger disappointment. Brie wants to go out, so hold that thought. So I feel like that is pretty much all I have to say on the matter of this book so far. This is, of course, going to be spilling over into next week, so do stay tuned if y'all want to know my final thoughts on this one. Next week is actually going to be the last April reading vlog, the last vlog from Magical Readathon and Realmathon. I am also doing my 24-hour readathon with my patrons next week, so I am expecting to get a little bit more read than I have been, just because I will be dedicating that, like, it's Friday night and Saturday daytime for me to reading. So hopefully I can get a few more points for Enya and also complete my Magical Readathon TBR, because I still need to finish this and then read like a whole other book for my final prompt. But it is almost 8:45, so I am going to be wrapping this up here because I gotta go. But I do hope you've enjoyed this vlog. If you've made it this far, if you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you'll go when nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.